Hello and welcome, traveler. Join us today on our new adventure.
Today we are going to build one of our favorite rooms from Dark Souls 2. The interior of the Cardinal Tower. Let's gear up, we will begin. As a base for the walls and the floor, we used this really cool foam board. We wanted to make the whole thing in a scale of 1 to 12 for action figures, and we kind of measured in-game how big one of the tiles on the floor is, and we decided 4 by 4 centimeters is the perfect size.
We used big titanite chunks to cut out the bricks for the walls.
Wait, isn't that styrofoam?
It was actually quite relaxing to cut out hundreds of bricks. One by one, these bricks will be glued to the foam board.
We actually filmed the whole wall process, but we lost the footage for it. Oops.
I used a sharp blade to cut out floor tiles from leftover floor isolation foam. I really wanted them to look old and run down.
Quick crafting tip. If you want to weather foam, just use your Elite Knight gauntlets and rough it up a bit. You can also just use an aluminium ball. During the project, we bought a hot wire cutter. This made cutting out all the pieces so much easier.
Here, take a break.
Hey, thanks! For the pillars, I found it easier to cut out a lot of individual cubes and then cut them into a round shape later. I beveled the edges of each segment with the trusty blade and then weathered the whole thing some more with our equally trusty aluminium ball. I made some more parts for the top and bottom parts of the pillars, and then I stacked them all on top of each other using hot glue.
Perfect.
With the walls, the floor and the pillars already in place, it's starting to look really cool.
So much that we couldn't wait to play with it.
In-game, there is no door on this wall, but I really wanted to have a door on this wall, so I cut out a door for this wall.
I made a paste out of flour, wood glue and water to fill out all the gaps from our tiles and walls. This creates a really cool stucco effect. I found this on the channel of Mechanical Fiend. I created a sheet of fake plaster using isolation foam. I wanted to achieve this look where layers of plaster start to fall off one by one, until at some points the underlying brickwork is revealed. I glued it to the wall and filled in the gaps with the flour mixture from before. I'm so happy how it turned out.
I really love how the walls turned out so far. Now I'm going to cover them all up with black goo. It's actually just black acrylic paint. After I was finally done with priming the whole thing, I noticed we forgot to add the little wall thing behind the statue in this alcove. So I really quick and dirty made one out of another piece of insulation foam by painting on a brick texture and then carving the lines in with one of our sculpting tools. There, perfect. As if it was never missing. After that, I dry brushed everything with various shades of exciting gray.
Then it was time for the female figure in the room. I made a base from aluminium foil and coated it with polymer clay. I don't have a lot of experience with polymer clay, so I just went with the flow and hoped for the best. After I was happy with the shape, I painted it black. After that, I dry brushed it with grays and browns. Then it was time for the roots. I took some thick wire and wrapped it in aluminium foil so I can bend the roots afterwards. It took some experimenting to get the shape of the roots right. When I got the shape right, I coated them in Fimo and sculpted some details in. I painted them brown and used some earth shade for the shading. For the highlights, I used a paper towel to dab on some gray tones.
At this point I was pretty excited, it looks so cool already. Remember the part about the door that doesn't exist in game? Now I will make the actual door.
The door.
I used again some of the insulation foam and carved a wood grain texture into it. I wanted it to look really old and worn, like it hasn't been opened for quite some time. I wanted the door to be a separate object so it can theoretically be opened, and I used some hard cardboard as backing and then just glued everything on top of that. I didn't reference any specific door from the game. I just went with the flow and improvised most of the detail. Looking back, if I would do this whole thing again, I would probably pick out a really cool door from the game and build that to make it more in style, but I am really happy how the door turned out in the end, and that's what matters the most while crafting, I think. I used some chopped off pieces of this wooden barbecue stick as details for the hinges, and I also made a small handle for the door off camera with a metal ring and some more cardboard. And then I used some rhinestones as rivets. I primed the whole thing in black acrylic paint and then dry brushed it with various shades of brown. After that, I used some Citadel lead belcher and some Stormhost silver to paint all the metal parts of the door. I also used some Nuln oil and some Agrax Earthshade, also from Citadel, to add some patina and rust.
I left some gaps in the floor tiles so that the roots can grow through them. I've been looking forward to fill these gaps with gravel and debris. I tried to imagine how it might look if some roots tear open the ground.
Tasty sand.
After that, I decided that our room needed more colors, so I added some dark grays, greens and some bright tones.
Now comes a part I was looking forward so much. Applying grass and moss to the whole build. All the grass and moss adds so much life to the whole diorama and so much lush greenness and also a lot of glue. Here's a nifty trick. We put a paper towel in front of our vacuum cleaner so we could save all the excess grass for later. I glued a small magnet on the back of the door so I can open and close it for photos.
I wanted to give the moss a bit more color variance, so I added flocking in 2 different green shades. In the game, there grow little trees from the roots. I coated some wire with Fimo for the base and then used some more wire and hot glue to achieve a nice shape. I then tried to paint them similar to the roots. For the leaves, I glued 3 different colored flockings onto the branches.
Tasty broccoli.
And then they were ready to be assembled to the diorama.
And now finished. Let's take a look.
At the final result. Thank you for watching.
And see you on our next adventure.